The Kelowna real estate market in September had virtually no change compared to September of 2023. But is that a good thing? Does it mean that the market is stabilizing, or is there something else going on that the numbers aren't telling us? That's what I'm going to get into in this video today for the September 2024 market update for single family homes and the market overall. And speaking of the market overall, let's start there. So we have the Kelowna area, otherwise known as the Central Okanagan, for September of 2024. So let's start with sales. Sales were at 263, virtually the same as last year. Little caveat there though. We had fires last year. So mid-August, we had the huge wildfire that started in West Kelowna, affecting virtually the whole central Okanagan. And during that time in September and August, people couldn't get insurance on the properties they were purchasing. So they kept having to have to push those properties, their move-in dates, closing dates, all that sort of thing. They had to push all those to whether it was late September, early October. So we're essentially comparing a wildfire market to a market we're having right now in September of 2024, where there's no wildfires. So let that sink in for a minute. Same sales as last year, where we had a huge wildfire. Now, in terms of dollar volume, we're at just over $200 million in volume. Now, taking that dollar volume, dividing it by the number of sales, average price sales right now at $768,000. That amount will get you bottom line single family home, top of the line townhouse right now in Kelowna. Number of active listings have absolutely skyrocketed over this time last year, 34%. We're sitting at 3,281 listings, and the number of new listings dropped compared to this time last year. So in September, we had less listings hit the market, even though we had that wildfire last year. Now let's carry on and discuss the price. So this is for the single family home category only. If you are interested in the condo market or the townhouse market, I do separate videos on those throughout the month as well. So if you want to stay up to date on my videos, drop a like and hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on those new videos that come out. And if you are in the market, you're looking to buy or sell, or you're looking to move to Kelowna, there is a link down below in the description where you can book a one-on-one call with me there. Now carrying on with the price. So September of 2024, we ended out at just over $1 million at $1,018,000. Now we're down a whopping $100 since last month. Now this is what's called the benchmark price, so the typical home in the central Okanagan. And since last year, since September of 2023, now remember those wildfires that we had 1 year ago, we're up about 0.5%. Now, in terms of where we were in the peak of the market, this is March of 2022, we're down about 14% since the peak. And the peak was at just under 1.2 million. And if we take it back about 5 years to September of 2019, we had about a 56% increase to the peak there. So prices absolutely skyrocketed, especially in 2021 and 2022. We had that run up there. And if we take this red line across, it kind of tells us where we're sitting historically and what price we're kind of back to, since we did come down a bit there. So we're sitting around November of 2021 prices. So if you do have to sell in these little bubbles here, unfortunately, you'll probably be down in value. And if we look back at what happened 3 years ago, you're up about 4% if you purchased then. And 5 years ago, again, if you purchased 5 years ago, you're up a whopping 44% from September 2019 to September of 2024. Now let's dig into the numbers a little bit here for the single family home category. So sales, again, just like the overall market. So we had 117 sales in the single family home category. And again, remember those wildfires were only up about 1% since this time last year. So we're kind of in a wildfire sort of season here, but there's no fires this year. And days to sell, so how long it takes your home to actually sell. Now, the advertised days from our board is sitting at 56, which is down about 6% since this time last year. But this doesn't tell us the whole story of how long homes actually sit on the market. So it doesn't include cumulative days on market. And I'll show you a real life example here in a second. Now, the real days on market, I went through every single listing, 117 listings, to see when they were, if they were canceled, if they were expired, then relisted at a lower price, that sort of thing. So I took all those, the cumulative days on market. So the real days to sell, we're sitting at 103 days. So roughly 3 months to sell a house on average right now. And I didn't include any brand new homes because when they're being built, they typically don't sell and it takes them longer to sell. So I didn't include those. I didn't include the really high-end homes that always take longer to sell typically. So I left those properties out just so it wouldn't really skew it. So if you're a seller right now, keep in mind that it is taking a little bit longer to sell your properties right now. And just as an example, and this is a real life example of a property that sold this month, but it was listed. You can see it started in January. So it initially started on the market for 45 days at just under 1.1 million. Then they canceled it, lowered the price, did the relist for 96 days up to June. Then when it expired, they relisted it right away 2 days later. And then it sat on the market for 93 days. They listed it at 975, then it expired at 925. Then they relisted it. So it expired in September. They relisted it and it sold 7 days later in September. So it sold for 850. Now, the only number that the public sees would be this 7 days on market. Now, you don't see this exactly, but that number 7 is what gets put in the days to sell, the advertised days to sell in our board. So if I didn't go through all those numbers, what would that have been? 200 days on market. So you can see how that, or more than 200 days on market. So you can see how that number gets skewed. Now that example there is obviously an extreme example of what's happening, but there were 2 or 3 of those right now. So if you are a seller right now, it shows you that price is very, very important. Otherwise, you're just going to be chasing the market down for essentially 9 months. Now I'm done with my rant there for the days to sell. Carrying on, we have the list to sale ratio. Now this number has not changed at all this year. So it's hovered around the 97% all year. So essentially, if you have $1 million home, you and the buyer are negotiating around 3% off that list price on average. And I have had people in my comments before mention what's the original list price. So the original list to sale price ratio. So if we go back to that example, the original list price was 1.1. I don't know the percentage math there, but overall or on average, you're sitting at about another percentage off of the last list to sale price ratio. And just like the overall market, the single family category has absolutely skyrocketed in inventory, sitting at just under 40% since this time last year. So we're at 1,644 single family home listings in the central Okanagan, and in Kelowna alone, there's over 1,000 single family home listings. And with that inventory going up and the sales staying low, we have our months of inventory increasing to 14, meaning if we didn't list any other properties at the end of the month, going forward, it would take over a year or 14 months to sell off all of that inventory. So there you have it. Those are the stats for September of 2024 for the overall market and the single family home category. So if you're a seller right now, pricing your home is the most important thing right now. And if you're a buyer, there is more homes on the market than ever for you to choose from. And if you are in the market for a single family home here in the Okanagan and you're wondering if you can still get one for $800,000, check out this video here.